Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports.
Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports with Tyler Drake and Lauren Koval.
What's going on, Bird Gang? Tyler Drake here with not Lauren Koval. Nope, not her. Instead, it's Kevin Zimmerman, lead editor, ArizonaSports.com, and co-host of Empire of the Suns. Welcome to Cardinals Corner. First time, right?
I think it is.
Okay.
Thank you for asking me on this Thursday. It's Thursday. It's been a minute since I've had some extended Cardinals talk.
It has.
I survived the Steve Wilkes era. And
you have, because if you guys at home don't know, Kevin was the guy in charge of the Cardinals beat before I jumped on it. So yeah, you got any fun stories 2018? That you want to talk about?
I'll tell you this one. This was well written about prior to the season. There was a hurdle, like physical hurdle from like some high school track looking thing in the locker room. And like people wrote about, he wanted everyone to see it. Steve Wilkes did put it in there to motivate them that they have to jump over hurdles or something. You can go look it up. I literally forgot about why it was there, and I just thought it was some player who left junk in the middle and it was just there, and it was always just in the way. And that was my memory. And then at some point after the season, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Do you think that's better or worse than the Foursquare / basketball that was taking place before the new regime took over?
I'm okay with that. That's fun.
Okay.
That's more fun. Instead of just like, why is this piece of junk in my way?
More team building.
Yeah, more team building.
All right. Well, today, as you see, Lauren's not here. She's actually pulling double duty on Burns and Gambo, so shout out to her. But we are going to dive into some mailbag questions we asked you guys. Thank you for all those who hit us back. So let's start right away. We're going to go right into it. Steven hit us up on Facebook. Appreciate you, Steven. He said, how long of a leash do you think JG has right now?
Years? Like how many years? So,
sure.
Okay. Last year, wash, rebuilds, take your time. This year, like, I think we just judge it by where the expectations are, and the expectations are what? At least 8 wins. Mm-hmm. If you hit 8 or 9, you're in good shape. And I think, like, after that, next year you're going to catch flack if you don't hit 9, 10. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm right there too. I think you can get away with maybe a 6-win season depending on how things shake out, injuries, all of those things. There's going to be different variables. But yeah, like you said, the expectation is 8 or more. I think at this point, the roster's revamped enough, foundation set, culture set. It's, all signs ahead right now.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is where they've really got to show that extended growth, and then next year they've got to fight for a legit playoff spot.
Do you know off the top of your head how many guys are returning from the old regime? Because like we're even past the hump. DJ Humphries being cut, obviously I'm sure it was injury related. Maybe it would have happened otherwise. I don't think so, but like that was kind of like the symbolic thing to me of he's like, this is new. We're in it. It's yours now.
And I think you can also see just the trend of all of the former regime guys who clearly weren't fitting in very quickly were moved off of.
Yeah.
The Isaiah Simmons of the world.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I mean, Zaven Collins, not saying he's not fitting in, but they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. They've got to see more from him, clearly. Mm-hmm. So those are going to be definitely something to watch. But yeah, I mean, there's been a huge turnover. There's clearly a design of who they want in this locker room.
Yeah.
Now.
And obviously Kyler's your franchise quarterback, the contract, all that, but he's good. And then like James Conner to me did not fit the Cliff Kingsbury team and fits this team a lot better. And that just ends up working in their favor, a guy to keep who has overseen the change. So yeah, it's fully JG's team now.
Well, let's get into that James Conner side of things. So Marvin Harrison Jr., they got him number 4 overall. A friend of mine, Ryan, asks, does the offensive identity change much with that addition, with more of a revamped wide receivers room, or does it still stick with that NFC West trend of, run first, go right at them?
I think personally it's the same as it was last year. I think that's where you have to build it, and that's like Kyler talking about not having to be Superman all the time, I think is super important in this, because honestly, it is, again, James Conner's team. Now, you probably would say James Conner might push 1,000 yards. I don't even think so. I don't think it matters, though. I still think he's the face of kind of also like Budda. Guy you are making your ID out of on this team, and it's going to be shared with other running backs. It's going to be shared with the wide receivers, shared with Kyler. But like, dating back to like Petzing's past, like, it's run heavy, it's variable, it's multiple, like, and that's what's going to bring the best out of Kyler. And I remember like his rookie season, I would call him like, it's great that he's being a game manager in some instances. And I think that's not like a knock on him at all. I think if you make a really good, talented player a game manager, don't make him throw it all over the place, then that's how you win in the NFL.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, man. I think it's very much so. This running backs room is different. I think Trey Benson is going to get his looks too. And that is only going to, I think, in theory, prolong James Conner for a potentially longer season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the biggest issue with him, is can he stay healthy for a full season? I mean, I think he's missed at least 3 games the last couple of years. So turning that around is going to be a big thing. And like you said, he doesn't have to hit 1,000. There's other guys that can do this. And it's not just Trey Benson. It's guys like Michael Carter, Amari DeMercado. I mean, obviously we've got to see how the roster shakes out, but all those guys showed a little bit of something last year in this offense. And I think it even adds more to this run-first offense, because you've got so many other weapons on the outside that defenses are going to have to account for, especially Marvin.
Yeah, I think also, like, I don't equate JC's production versus how impactful he is. Like, if you say who's the most impactful running back on their team in the NFL, is he in the top 10? Is he in the top 5 even? You could make those arguments. Obviously, production-wise and like talent-wise, pure talent on paper talent, I don't think he gets enough respect.
Yep.
But I think it's fine that he might be outside of the top 10. He might not be a top 10 rusher in yards or touchdowns or whatever, but that doesn't mean he's not kind of the ID of this team.
Yeah, the mentality, kind of the work ethic that he brings. Exactly. Yeah, leadership role. Yeah. I mean, the ESPN article that came out, I think he got receiving votes.
So he was like outside the top
15, of the top 10, outside of the 17? Honorable mentions. I think there was 4 or 5 honorable mentions.
It was top 10, 4 or 5. Yeah, so outside the top 15.
Yeah, and like how you said, it's just the value he brings to the team goes well beyond the stat line. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. Okay, you mentioned Budda Baker. Ryan threw another one at us. Mm-hmm. Do you think he's going to get extended?
I think he should be. I actually, honestly, like, it's incredible that there hasn't been more holdout stuff, because like you look at his contract, how it's set up, he should be. Mm-hmm. I'm very curious what you think. What do you think last year's kind of lack of production with just, he had tackles, but he didn't, turn the ball over a lot. Like, I wonder how much that impacted them not willing to give him an extension, because I think he's obviously a big piece of this. Yeah. And like just how contracts work in sports for star players, at least. Yeah. Like, I assume he's still, a very top 10, even top 5. I don't know. Oh, yeah. What do you think? Safety in the NFL. So I'm surprised that hasn't been a storyline to this point, honestly. Well,
especially after what we saw last year, when it was very clear, holdout, trade request, all this stuff, like that has gone by the wayside. Everybody seems like they're in lockstep. I'm very surprised we haven't had any more types of reports coming out. Like, everyone's very happy. It seems like
it's promising that it says he trusts these guys, that they'll get it done, or maybe they're just negotiating and he's not.
Exactly. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're in the middle of it right now. Yeah. Who knows? For all we know, they could already be at the table. But yeah, I think he's just like James Conner. He's your defensive face. You've got to, for how much Monty, for how much JG talks about him, you've got to keep this guy around. He is definitely part of your blueprint. He's like a Kaiser White in my mind. Like, Kaiser White should be another guy that should already have years tacked on. Just do it, because it's an easy one. James Conner's another one. I mean, there's a couple of these guys. Will Hernandez. Like, there's a lot of these guys who can get extended. It's just, how do they rank them? How do they, because it's going to be some money.
You can't pay off everyone. Yeah,
exactly. So how do you go about that? So I definitely think Budda should be extended. As to what that looks like, who knows?
NFL is weird, man, because it's not, you're expecting the same thing over and over and over for very long. And we've gotten so many good years out of Budda, so many productive, even with the little minor dings with James Conner. Yep. Like, it makes sense why they haven't gotten those deals done yet. But again, speaking to everyone being in lockstep, it's good that they're going to practice. They're showing up for voluntary
stuff.
Voluntary stuff. But yeah, that speaks more on how good I think they are with the coaching staff and the front office.
Yep,
and that
culture,
kind of
foundation, all that good stuff. All right, so let's get to Kyler.
Okay.
What kind of passing yards do you expect? This came from K2, by the way.
K2?
K2 on Twitter. X. Whatever you want to call it.
Is it like a
it's not like
mini
Cliff,
penny?
It's not like Cliff Kingsbury.
Okay. We were looking at this. So he was like at 3,900 something in 2020, like 3,700 2021.
Yep.
Last year in 8 games, he was basically pacing for around 3,600, I think.
That should be the floor.
See, again, it's like, I think he should, yeah, it should be the floor, probably.
I still think, obviously they've still got to run the rock. They still got to really focus in on the scheme that Drew Petzing wants to run, but revamped wide receivers room. I just think that's got to be the floor for if they really want to accomplish exactly what they want to get done this year, because having Kyler being back there and to the point, if he's really connecting with Marvin, that's just, like I said, going to open up everything else. Trey McBride, oh man, if he starts on a tear like he ended, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Connor's going to have a lot more room to run.
Yeah, I guess more that I think about it, let's say 3,800.
I like that.
Because I again, like, it matters that you're going to be handing the rock off. That's just limiting the volume. But I think it's going to be, like, obviously more deep shots to Marvin, you would think. More options, more threats. And even when you talk about the run game, like JC was talking, right, about he wants to be more of a pass catcher, which honestly, like, that's going to help him extend and get easier yardage without, he's going to be putting his shoulder down on corners instead of
big
300-pound men. I'll go through the 800.
Yeah, I think that's a good number. It still doesn't. Yeah, you're not putting it all on him, like you mentioned earlier. He doesn't have to be Superman anymore.
Yeah,
and I still think we're going to see some run game from him. Maybe not to the level that we've seen. Maybe not to the past regime, but I think we're going to see a healthy dose of Kyler making things happen with his legs, like we have seen.
Intentional. Oh, they're playing us like this. Now is the time to pull the trigger on the play. Yep. But I'm going to hold it in my back pocket till, third quarter when they've already made their halftime adjustments, and I'm going to burn them with their halftime adjustments, and then now it's too late to make other halftime adjustments because you're past halftime.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. We got one more. Wide receivers and cornerbacks. There's quite a few guys on the roster right now that could very well crack the 53-man. K2 asked another one. How many from each position do you think is going to make the 53-man roster? Because, right now I can probably give you 7 and 7 that I could realistically see make it. But if we're going off of last year's 53-man roster, there was 6 wide receivers, 5 corners.
Okay.
In that kind of roster construction, I think it's going to be close to that.
Let me pull up how many tight ends they had, because that kind of mattered. They had 4 tight ends and 6 wide receivers. Okay. It's hard to do because, like, we're not considering, you need this many running backs. But anyway, what do you want to start at? Corner?
Go corner, yep.
Okay. Keitrell Clark, he's probably going to make it. I'll go. Sean Murphy Bunting, obviously. Garrett Williams, from what you have told me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Garrett Williams is a lock.
Starling Thomas looked good last year.
Starling Thomas should make it.
What am I at, 4?
4.
Max Melton is your top
that's
draft.
5.
That's 5?
Yep.
Man. Yeah, Elijah Jones might be on the cutting. Might be a cut. Bobby Price was a good special teams guy. Did he play a little corner?
Played a little.
Yeah. I think, is 6 too many?
I don't think 6 is too many, just given there's a lot of questions still.
Yeah.
Who's going to be CB1? Does it get figured out in training camp, or do they need to really kind of go through the season and nail it down?
Yeah.
And I think they like rotate. It's just like the rest of the defense. They like rotating guys in. Garrett Williams can play, I think, any position for that secondary.
Yeah.
Or not. Yeah. Really, for the secondary. He plays with the safeties. He plays with the corners. Like, this dude is... I expect big things from him. Okay. I know he's going to be a starting nickel, but part of me thinks he's going to be in the running for more than that.
Because we don't know cornerback 2. Yeah.
I mean, Sean Murphy-Bunting should be a starter. Yeah. Is it Max Melton or is it Garrett Williams? I think that's really where I'm at right now.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, it also matters if Garrett Williams can play multiple. Then, like, if you're completely healthy to start off the season, maybe you're only at 5.
Yeah. And you bring one of those guys, like, yeah. I think Elijah could crack it too.
Yeah.
So I would...
If he has that's one where it's like late round picks, they have to have a bad camp.
Yep.
But it's happened before.
I'm thinking 6.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly where that other position is, like where that other spot's going to be taken from off the top of my head. Maybe it's safety. Maybe they feel like Garrett Williams could just be that other addition.
Yeah, or you can't, like, can he play safety? Because then yeah.
All right, let's get into wide receivers.
Yeah.
Give me your number and give me your players.
I'm going to go 5, I believe.
Okay.
All right. Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he will make the roster.
Breaking news.
Michael Wilson, probably number 2.
Easily. I guess not easily, but yes, he should be a starter.
Dortch is the obvious slot man. Yep. Zay Jones, from everything you read and just like following, I don't know how many Buffalo and Baltimore people. Wait, what's he called? Raiders. Jaguars. Yep. What did I say? Buffalo?
No, Buffalo was first.
Okay. Anyway, everyone loves him.
Yes.
And I think he's going to be an important piece in this.
Okay, so I think you're at 4.
Yeah. And then probably Pascal, just a special teamer, can fill in whenever needed if people are hurt type.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more?
5. Okay. So you had 5 corners too?
Yeah.
So you have an extra spot basically. Where would you put that other player then?
I'm curious about what the inside linebacker depth is.
Ooh.
I'm also like tight ends. They have a lot of guys they can keep. Probably.
Yeah, especially for what they want to do too. Trey, Tip, Elijah. I don't know if Blake Whiteheart takes another step.
I guess you can only carry 3 tight ends and you're fine to start.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. Yeah. I think, I guess inside linebacker too, if we're looking at that, it'd be Mac Wilson, or not Mac Wilson first, but Kaiser White, Mac Wilson, Chris Barnes, Owen Papo. That would probably be the 4.
Yeah.
So that's pretty set too. So maybe add another running back then?
That's where...
Name of the game.
And that's where you might have to protect it just because there's enough depth in running backs where you got to burn a spot on the 50-man initial just to keep them away from people.
Yeah. I think for me, so the one thing that I think for sure those 5 that you mentioned, but for me it comes down to 2 more guys, Chris Moore and Tajon Palmer.
Pitch me, Palmer. That's
because
fun.
Rookie, I think he's gonna have to really show a lot. It's a very crowded wide receivers room now. Mm-hmm. Chris Moore, veteran, I think he could be a good depth piece, a bigger depth piece. But again, do you want to bolster the run game, or do you want to add that extra body that may not really see that much? And Palmer could very well be a special teamer too.
Who's like slot guy other than Dortch?
Yeah, I think that's got to be that's got to be figured out. And I mean, Xavier Weaver, I'm kind of interested to see what he does too.
Can Palmer do slot stuff? He's just a bigger, obviously.
Yeah, just a little bit bigger guy.
Yeah.
But and Zay Jones. I mean, that's been one thing they've said too, is Zay Jones could easily play all 3 positions. He's played all 3 positions. He's proven he can do it. So those are the options right there. So it it really is going to get interesting to see kind of how everything shakes out on that side Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's not like, I feel like last year we were pretty much set of like, yep, here you go.
And then you maybe pick an extra guy who is a practice squad.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's good that it's good to have the conversation of like, oh, they might have to cut someone who they drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was last year. It's like, no, you got to start the guy you drafted.
The guy you the undrafted guy.
Yeah, Starling Thomas. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to wrap it with some fun questions.
Uh-oh.
One's coming from your co-host, Empire of the Suns.
Oh, God.
Can you tell me what a pancake block is? One word, dominance.
Is he like asking like physically what?
He wants to know, why is it called a pancake?
This is Kellen Olson.
Kellen Olson, Empire of the Suns. He was in Vegas.
I actually assumed it's because like you literally pancake someone flat.
Yes.
You just
flapjack them.
Waffle them.
Is it a short stack though?
Heavy stack. Wolf voice. Oh.
But he didn't stop there either.
Okay,
Kellen took it a step further.
Thank you for providing content.
Kellen. How do you like your pancakes?
Butter and syrup.
Do you know chocolate chips? Nothing like that?
I don't need that.
You don't need that? Do you like a certain shape, like Mickey Mouse, something like that?
Spider-Man. I only do Spider-Man pancakes.
There we go. Spider-Man, yeah.
That's a good kid idea.
Yes, thank you. My my daughter Brady's birthday is on Monday. She's a big Spider-Man fan.
Just order some Amazon Spider-Man pancake. What do you call it?
Griddles?
I don't know. You can just cut it in the middle of the circle.
Do you like waffles or pancakes better?
Pancakes seem like easier to eat. I'll eat whatever, man, but
I feel like waffles you can kind of put everything on it and
it collects better. Yeah, like the IHOP commercials, the syrup's running off the side of your pancakes.
That's a good feeling though.
Yeah, it means you've covered it well enough. Okay. Thank you, Kellen.
Is there a point where it's too much syrup?
At some point it's probably pointless. You're wasteful.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're jacked up on maple syrup.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got one more from a colleague, Donnie Druin, who, if you guys want to hear a really funny story, Donnie decided one day to bring in some donuts to the Cardinals training facility for an interview. Put them out for everybody to have. Great stuff. Hey.
Very nice.
Good on you, Donnie. Good on you, Donnie. Well, JG saw that. And let's just say he wasn't a fan.
A fan of donuts or a fan of giving?
A fan of donuts. So he goes and sits down. He goes, oh, somebody brought donuts. You know, first question, like everybody would ask, yeah, did you get one? Do you want one? No, that's not winning behavior. The amount of eyeballs that looked at Donnie. So with that, Donnie just wants to know what our take is on donuts, our thoughts on donuts.
It seems like you're winning if you're giving donuts because you're being a nice human being. Yeah,
but it is the Cardinals Corner, so I think we might have to call it non-winning behavior. Sadly.
Non-winning.
Do you have a favorite donut if we can go that far?
Straight glazed.
Straight glazed?
Yeah.
Okay. I like the Long Johns. I used to. Not winning behavior. I don't eat those anymore.
I do a lot of non-winning behavior.
Cut that.
Loser behavior over here.
Well, dang, we knocked that out, man. That was great.
Go hit the gym. That's winning behavior.
Do you eat the donut first and then hit the gym, or hit the gym and then eat the donut?
I like, whenever I do happen to work out, it's more like, oh, I'm going to put bad things in my body because I just earned it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me too.
Yeah.
That's me too. Having a gym next to like a restaurant is never a good thing.
No, that's losing behavior. Oh yeah, I pumped some iron, went on a run, whatever. I'm just gonna go eat like the largest Filiberto's burrito. Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Phil Bees.
And okay.
All right. Well, before we get even more off the rails, we are going to cut it there. Thanks again to everybody who sent in their questions. Hopefully we answered them enough for you. We will definitely have to do this again because it was definitely a fun time. I got to thank you, Kevin, for joining. Definitely catch him all the time. Empire of the Suns and on ArizonaSports.com because he's a lead editor. This guy does it all. You got anything else to say?
No, I don't.
Nothing else to say? You don't want to promote it?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
I will promote it for him. You can find it on the Arizona Sports app, arizonasports.com and 98.7 when they play it over the air. You can find us there too. You can find me at TDrake for Sports on social media. You can find Cardinals Corner at AZ Cards Corner. Kevin Zimmerman, you're at K Zimmerman?
K Zimmerman AZ. Boom.
K Zimmerman AZ right there. Give him a follow. Make sure you go follow Lauren and give her grief for not jumping on the pod today.
Where's Lauren?
Yeah, come on, Lauren. But with that, we will be back next week. We'll have even more to bring you. So for Cardinals Corner, I'm Tyler Drake. That's Kevin Zimmerman. We'll see you later.